Hey, San Bernardino. Thank you guys so much for coming out tonight. We are ready for our agenda review. So I hope you guys are having a great evening on this very nice rainy afternoon. It's been pretty awesome. So let's make sure that we're live. You can all join in. We've got some good stuff coming up on the agenda for tomorrow night. A lot of discussions going on. So that's what I love. If there's anything that I want our community to do more of, it is discuss and make sure that they are part of the conversation. So, okay, we are up and running. So we have our meeting tomorrow, and let's go straight to our agenda. Okay. All right, so I hope you guys can all see this. Here we go. All right, so we have our meeting, which is at Feldheim Library, as you guys all know. And closed session will be going on at 4 p.m. So if you have any public comments regarding one of these two items, so we will be in closed session regarding the public employee appointment of the city manager. So we will be voting on who will be the next city manager. And then we have our conference with our labor negotiator. So, as you guys know, we are moving forward with securing all of our contracts and MOUs with each of our bargaining units. And this has been ongoing for us. So, one of those two things we'll come and share your thoughts on. And then at 5 p.m., we will start our regular meeting. So we will have our invocation and pledge of allegiance. Whatever, if anything, we decide at a closed session will be reported on. And then we have one presentation, which is the proclamation for Pride Month in the city of San Bernardino. So it is June. Get your rainbows out and your go-go boots, and here we go. So that'll be our one presentation. And then we have our public hearings. So we will be discussing AB 2561, which is our annual vacancy rate report. And so this is a public hearing. You can sign up to speak independently of the agenda. So each of the public hearings. So they'll be providing the information on our vacancies. And then if you have anything you want to specifically speak to this, you can. We also have the very, very important proposal of the fiscal 25-26 operating budget and the 26 through 30 capital improvement program. So we've had our previous workshops going on, and this is where we are coming forward with the proposed budgets. And if you have any comments that you want to directly speak to about the budget, any of the departments, the capital improvements, the operating budget, proposed budget, maintenance budgets, the creation of an operation maintenance department, anything, you can definitely come up and discuss that with us. So if you've been following along, we had a great budget meeting workshop the last time that we met, and a lot of really good questions were asked. So that'll be a part of that public hearing. And then another public hearing is the draft of the fiscal year 25 through 29 consolidated plan, draft analysis of impediments to fair housing, and a draft for 25-26 annual action plan associated with the Community Development Block Grant, Home Investment Partnership, and Emergency Solutions Grant Program. So we'll have a public hearing, receive public comments, and then designate our city manager to take further action and execute any documents. So if any of that is something that you want to speak to directly, you can. And then we have another public hearing, which is approve the 2025 fireworks regulatory fee rate or adopt an urgency ordinance establishing a one-year moratorium on the sale and use of Safe and Sane fireworks. So we've been getting a lot of outreach on this, which I think is great. There are many in the community who want to put the moratorium on Safe and Sane. There are others that support it. Either way that you go, I think what is great is that this is actually up for discussion. And you can totally pick what and with the council, what you want to do. Now, this isn't an urgency ordinance. If you guys remember, we asked for this to come back in like February and March. It is June, so we're right around the corner from the 4th of July. But there's a lot of flexibility in what the council can discuss and what's going on. And truly, it's just about an enforcement issue. Every year, as long as I've lived in the city, people come and talk about fireworks. They talk about the effects of the Safe and Sane and the popping regarding veterans with PTSD. They talk about the effects on the animals. They talk about the effects on safety and potential fire hazards. Now, anything above the 210 freeway is already illegal. Doesn't matter if it's safe and sane or if it shoots in the air. You are not allowed to use fireworks in the top of the city. So it's an interesting conversation in and of itself because this should, now, all things being equal, this should actually only be affecting everybody below the 210 freeway. But here's what we know as someone that lives above the 210. They're using the fireworks no matter where you're at, safe or sane, or shoot in the air illegal. And what we have to look at as a city is, what do we want to do? And that's really why I brought this forward, is what is it as residents? I know with being a homeowner and others of you that have reached out, this does have an underlying effect on your potential fire coverage. As the city allows for things that burn, they run that risk, an underlying written risk. So I know that you guys have talked about that. You talk about the long-term effects of being the only city, within our surrounding cities that are allowing this sale. You talk about the cost, which almost $250,000 in overtime versus $100,000 to $130,000 of revenue. So we're expending more money. We talk about enforcement. Does the city even have the capabilities of enforcing anything? Or are they just enjoying the fireworks while collecting overtime costs? These are all the things that I'm very excited about that we're going to be able to discuss tomorrow and get answers to, because every department's going to be represented and everybody needs to be ready to answer for the community. So if this is something that you're super inclined to come talk to and talk about, then this is your item, and I'm happy to hear all positions on it. So after that, then the city manager will provide their updates, and then we'll have public comments for items listed and not listed on the agenda. And then the consent calendar. So we have approval of our various council meeting minutes. So from November and December, and a regular and special meeting on December 18th. And then rescind and approve the award of a construction agreement to Maddich Corporation. So a couple of you asked about this. So if you remember, we approved these streets on May 7th of 2025, which was like almost a month ago. Well, the question came up about Mountain View being paved. So I live on Mountain View, as you guys know. And I'm not even sure how we got here, but there is, out of an abundance of caution, we're going to re-vote on this. The council is going to re-vote. I am going to abstain from the vote because I live on the street, and then they're going to reapprove all of these streets. And that's why this is back on here. Now, I know I've spoken to other people about this, and they haven't seen this before, but look, as long as this makes sure that all of these streets can be paved in a timely manner, then we're going to do exactly what needs to be done so that no one has to worry about anything. So that's why you're seeing that again. Then you have, oops, I'm sorry. Then you have approve a vendor service agreement with C-High Computer Products in the amount not to exceed $132,000 to expand fiber optic capabilities in the City of San Bernardino Police Department. So they're moving forward with their hardware installation services. You have approved a goods purchase agreement with Ingram Library Services LLC for the purchase of books in the amount not to exceed $175,000. So as you guys know, Ingram has been able to reopen. They were redoing, I believe, their roof had leaked, and so now they're getting back. They actually have, I want to say, an ice cream social coming up, but I need to double check that, and I will post that to my page. So Ingram Library is coming back up to snuff, and that's great. Then adopt a resolution and a budget amendment for 24-25 for recreation and community services for the sponsorship of the 2025 Lunar New Year. So $5,320 in revenue. So that will be item number 10. Hi, Barbara. Thank you for joining. Then you have adopt a resolution authorizing the city manager to execute a contract with the county of San Bernardino for the acceptance of funds towards 75% of the purchase of unmanned aerial systems for drone responder programs. So this is very cool. We will be accepting $562,500 from the County Board of Supervisors to purchase drones. And this has been, from everything that the police department has reported, a very awesome use of technology that allows them to provide a different level of surveillance and undercover surveillance and all kinds of things. So really appreciative of the county for making that investment into this technology for the police department and what they're going to be able to do with it. So that's going to be great. And then approve a professional service agreement with Alarm Program Services LLC for alarm permit and false alarm management for all wards. So if you care about the alarm system, there you are. Then you have a resolution adopting lists of projects under SB1 road maintenance program recording supplemental appropriations, the amount of $7,352,750.90, which will cover all wards. So this is road maintenance and rehabilitation's proposed project list for submittal to the California Transportation Commission and adopting a list of projects for fiscal year 25-26. So Road Repair and Accountability Act of 2027. This is really exciting. I think one of the big things, especially for this year, for next year, is the amount of dedication that we are moving forward with paving our streets. And it's great to see, especially with Measure I funds, what we're going to be able to do, and not just fill in the potholes, but really rehabilitate the streets from the ground up that need them, and just make the city a nicer place to drive through. Then we have the construction agreement with Leondia Builders for the construction of concrete pads, utility connections, and other site improvements for the installation of the 12 modular kennel buildings and parking lot improvements for the animal services in the amount of $1,075,370. So, as you know, our shelter is receiving its infrastructure improvements, and that is what this is going towards. So, they're going to budget an additional $653,153.88 for the animal shelter improvement project using Measure S fund balance, and approve the award of construction agreement for the million for the construction of the concrete pad, utility connections, and other improvements installation for the modular building and the parking lot improvements. And authorize construction contingencies, construction management, and administrative costs in the amount of $500,000 for the construction project. So things are moving forward in the animal shelter, as you know, our ongoing conversation and continued movement forward. We got to, especially as things are happening, we have to make sure that we have the infrastructure in place before we expand our a willingness to take on more capacity. So I think that's where we're at. Remember, our shelter was extremely unfunded and uncared for many, 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 many years. In fact, many, many, many decades. And now it's being tasked with taking on animals from surrounding cities, and we need to make sure that we have the existing infrastructure in place. But even more so than that, I think we have a missing component of this conversation, and it's something that I think maybe the council needs to discuss. But what you have a lot of is the city and the taxpayers of the city of San Bernardino being weighed down by irresponsible owners, irresponsible people who breed dogs, who breed cats, irresponsible people who don't take care of their animals. And then they've tasked government with making sure that when their dog gets out for the 10th time, when their dog overbreeds for the third time, that they have this shelter that should be ready for everything. And I think that is really an unfair burden on anybody. And being that the city of San Bernardino has their shelter, remember we were all they were gonna put us out in the county of Riverside. Well, Riverside shut down their acceptance of cities because of their overload. And we really need to look at the root of the problem. And the root is that the city doesn't breed animals. The city doesn't own animals. The city is the one that's tasked with making sure that there is a mechanism in place for people with animals. And I believe in this coming year, we need to discuss what that means for us, because the costs keep going up and the level of accountability for residents that are mistreating their animals and not being the type of owners they should be keeps going down. So something to think about, discussions to be had. But this is where we're at now with the type of infrastructure improvements that we can put into place. So then you have amendment number 1 to progressive design build contract with Tilden Coyle constructors at the California Theater Improvements Project, increasing the total amount by $1,747,404. So the California Theater is under awesome revitalization, and this is more of the investment to do that. I know many of you are very excited about this, and I think it's great. It's really a jewel of the downtown. We need to make sure that we keep up with it. So item 16, approve amendment number 1 to the agreement with ZNK Consultants for Nicholson Park Construction Management and Construction Inspection Services in the amount of $144,158.90. Nicholson Park is really going through a lot of great improvements right now, and it's just going to be a stellar park that I think the investment in the west side is, it's been so sorely needed. So it's great to see things still coming, still moving forward, and this is more of a testament to it. So very good. Thank you, Ms. Barbara. Yes, absolutely. It starts with the individuals at home, then becomes a community problem. Yes. So yeah, taking care of animals really is a larger conversation. It really we got to figure out what we're going to do with that. So thank you. And then we have one discussion item, which is, so out of closed session, they will pick a city manager, and then they will move into a discussion and open, and the city manager will be announced, and then they will approve the labor contract. You guys were asking how much this proposed city manager was going to make, and it's in the contract at $333,000 a year. So you can read through that. It's in the backup material. And you can also come and, outside of the public hearings, you can give your own direct comment about the city manager that's going to be hired. And I will reserve my comments until we get to that point. But I know a lot of you have been through this process multiple times. You've watched this process from start to finish. And I first and foremost thank many of you who came to the meetings which I could not attend and vocalized your feelings on what was happening and how it was happening. And so again, you continue to show up, continue to vocalize what you think, what you feel, and that's the point. It's not, I'm going to tell you what I tell my students. I don't care what you think. I care that you think. And this is with every item on this agenda. That's why I go through it, each and every portion of it with you so that you know what's coming. If it's something that touches your segment of your life or segment of whatever, then you know that you can come and speak to it. So the city manager, I know we go through them like like a gallon of milk in a house full of kids, but it really, don't get exhausted talking about the important things because the city manager is the most important figure inside City Hall. And I know that there are a lot of people and even elected officials who don't understand this concept, but the city manager, when you read the charter, has the largest role and responsibility in our government. And it matters. It absolutely matters who the city manager is, uh, because they're the ones that have to be qualified and they're the ones that have to be accountable to the entire organization. So please come and express how you feel and look forward to it. Then we have items to be considered for future meetings, which is the establishment of a data-driven pavement management system to better prioritize capital improvements to city streets, especially a system should include a method for continually assessing the condition of city roadways. So I don't know if this is an old request that just made it on, but you guys had reached out. We had that team come and present to us the equipment and the vehicle that they were using to do street assessment. So I believe, and I know the mayor has shared the the pavement management plan online. So I don't know if this is an old request or not, but this is already in place. So we'll see where that goes. And then receive a presentation and provide direction on key economic development matters, including the continuance of the general plan, downtown specific plan, the background and status of the proposed downtown property-based improvement district, and any other pertinent economic development projects. So as a council, we had all asked that the general plan come forward. Now, if I remember correctly, the council last year voted down or voted or didn't take any interest in a P-bid in the downtown. So I'm not sure where that's coming from at this juncture because there literally is zero plan or movement for the downtown. So I guess we will see where that goes. But we definitely need an update on what is the plan for the next 25 years. I mean, if you know, you know, the city of San Bernardino is 25 years out of date on what they plan on doing with the future of it. So that's why we had that 2050 idea, but that was killed when they killed the downtown. And someone had brought up the other day the playbook that was in position. But remember, the playbook was created around the fact that we were going to revitalize our downtown. And when that died, the playbook died. So the one entity that carried forward their plan was Cal State San Bernardino's entrepreneurship center, which they put into the Chase building. So there's a lot of moving parts to what is happening. And it's just important that stay engaged. I know it's not easy. Uh, when we and I do want to give an update before we head out about the homeless encampments because there's some important things that I want you to know. But someone said the other day that it feels like there's so much negativity or there's so much drama involved in what we're doing. But I want you to understand something. It's not negative. It's not drama. It's literally the reality that you're living in. And if we're going to do anything positive, if you're going to make any type of change in the city, you have to position yourself and you have to ground yourself in the reality of what is happening in our city. Address it, find solutions for it, hold it accountable. But what you cannot do and what we will not do is ignore it. You can't ignore your way out of this problem. That's why the city went bankrupt. That's why the city was never, there was no succession planning beyond anybody's tenure as an elected official. The city is not set up yet to succeed outside of anybody's lifetime. That's why you don't have a general plan. No one has a vision for what's going to be in 2050. There's nothing there because nobody is planning on not being here to guide that way. That's why every 2 years, every time there's an election, they all want to start over instead of picking up and carrying forward something that would be concrete, something that you can bring to fruition. And that's just the reality of our situation. There's nothing in place. Our building codes are out of dated. There's no specific plan, no general plan. So you have to keep coming and you have to keep speaking on these things. Now, with that being said, I did want to talk about the homelessness and encampment cleanups because a few have been reaching out regarding the encampments off the side where the freeway entrances are and on the backside of like the wall. So the city has its own position and jurisdiction inside the limits of the city of San Bernardino. Now we, of course, have the freeway. The freeway is owned and operated by Caltrans. We are also right next to the flood channels, and the flood channels are owned and operated by the County of San Bernardino. We, as the city of San Bernardino, have zero jurisdiction, which means that we do not have the authority to go on the side of the freeway, to go on to the on-ramps, or to go into the flood channels and clean up any encampments. And I know that is extremely frustrating. We do report them to the different agencies and say, hey, we have a problem because the property lines abut the flood control. They abut Caltrans. Now, it sucks. We are working on it. I met with the city manager and I met with our lead of homeless encampment cleanups, and they are working diligently, having full-length conversations with Caltrans and the county to come up with a way for us to be able to be more efficient. Now, everybody has their own noticing requirements for encampment cleanup, so we have to be aware of that. And we, also have our own jurisdictions for a reason. So I know when you report something, you want it cleaned up in the next day or two. If it's not in the city's purview, then it's not in our power to be able to do that. My thing is I've relayed to the city manager is, well, if the governor of California is going to mandate that we take care of homelessness, well, then the governor of California better take care of what California controls, which is the freeways, which are the on-ramps and the off-ramps. So you got to do your part. You can't just lay it on the city. I've asked them to relay that to Caltrans. We'll see if they can't, make it a little bit nicer. But that is what's going on. So as you report it, I'm reporting it, but it does take a while. Remember too, especially, and I'm just speaking for the 7th Ward, we are one of 7. So I do relay, but there are also other encampments that are bigger needs or greater needs, and the city has their line of sight on making sure that everybody is treated equitably and fairly in how we address things. And that's really important because everybody's dealing with this issue. So I hope you guys had a great agenda review. I'm very, very happy that you came. So, BNSF Railway when it comes to the graffiti and trash. Yes, everybody has their, thank you for bringing that up. Yes, everybody has their little segment, and it is odd that even though we're all addressing the same issue, that there is any type of friction in being able to address that issue 3 feet away from your property line. Because what we know is, well, you can't be here in this encampment. They move across to another jurisdiction, which buys them another 3 days, and it buys them more time until that entity comes out. So we are working on intermediary housing as well as a long-term solution. If you guys have watched the meetings regarding the navigation center and other items will be coming back, we're also bringing back the creation of the homeless ad hoc committee, which will put us in front of more of the nonprofits and the beds available, as well as have our community have a voice in the long-term solution. My hope in 2050 is that we do not have people on the street, that we have been able to properly address those who are drug addicted or mentally ill or dealing with any type of addiction, and those who are working towards permanent placement. So thank you, Barbara and Sarah. Thank you, and Donna and Greg. I love having you guys here. So I will see you very soon. Please don't hesitate to reach out. We got some good stuff. And all of this is shaping the future of the city and the future of public policy in the city of San Bernardino. So please make sure that you stay engaged, that you stay educated, and that you are empowered to take control of your own lives. So have a great night, San Bernardino.